Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Kelly Sparks, aka Good Beard. So today, I'm just going to be drinking a little bit, just a sip or two. This is Jim Beam Signature Craft 12-year-old Kentucky Straight Bourbon. So, I hadn't had this one in a while. It's not going to be a review. It's only 43% alcohol. Although I thought it was a very good version. I really want to get the Knob Creek 12, and if it's still available, and do a blind with it. But today's a Q&A. So, I'm going to probably try to keep it to about 15-20 minutes. So I'll answer as many questions in that time frame, and then next week we'll go on to something else. So the first one we got, if you want me to do a Q&A video, please ask a question in the comments of this video. If questions are asked in the comments of other videos or reviews or anything like that, then I will answer those comments via text in the comment, or as a comment, as a reply. But if you ask a question in this comment, or in the comments of this video, I'll go ahead and make a video of it. So, Stephen Latham asks, Redbeard, I have a question. At what point did you start drinking whiskey, and at what point did you start professionally drinking whiskey? He also asks, for a beginner, how long would it take to get to your knowledge level? So, three-part question. What point did I start drinking whiskey? I believe was in high school, probably around sophomore, junior. I did drink a lot of beer in high school, but somewhere between senior year and after joining the Marine Corps, I switched over to drinking Jim Beam and Coke, just old school white label Jim Beam, and soda. I drank that for quite a while. I mean, I drank whiskey off and on while I was in the military. I used to carry a flask with me into the bars there on the around the military installation. So I would go in, I'd spend about $20 on beer, and every time I went to the bathroom, I would just take a sip out of my flask. Cheap night, it was easy. Did that for several years, and then I switched over to craft beer for a while. Drank a lot of Mexican beer while I was in Florida. So I would say the professional drinking of whiskey probably started around, maybe the infancy started around 2013 to 2014, whenever I was trying new stuff. I really hadn't thought about doing a video review system or anything like this, but around 2014, 2013-ish, give or take a year or two, is whenever I really started branching out and trying new things. Up until that point, I think I was probably still drinking. If I did drink whiskey, it was with Coke, or it was a shot and I took a chaser. Never really slowed down to try to appreciate the flavors. From there, I switched into, I started trying different bourbons. I really never got into the Blantons prior to the whiskey boom or the bourbon boom. Never really saw that stuff. I was drinking a lot of, what did I have? Bullet Rye. I really liked Bullet Rye when it first started surfacing in this area. I drank a lot of it, and then from that point I was like, oh, I want to drink scotch. So while everybody was collecting all these bottles of bourbon, the Pappy that used to be on the shelf all the time, I got into scotch. So I went the opposite direction, had no idea. So I missed all of that. But got into scotch around 2013, 2014, and then stayed there for a good 3 years, and really liked peated scotch. So I would say that's whenever my professional, as far as drinking whiskey for taste, not for effect, I would say that's probably when that started, around 2014. But to answer his last question, for a beginner, how long would it take to get to your knowledge level? Now, that question would be easiest answered if I knew their budget. If they had an expansive budget, if they had a really good job and they could buy 2 or 3 different bottles a week, it wouldn't take long. I would say less than a year, maybe even less than 6 months, you could get to kind of where I'm at right now. I would say a year. A year on average would probably be a good point. And that's if you're tasting new whiskeys every week. I mean, if you just do 1 bottle a week, you've tried 50 plus new bottles of whiskey in the course of a year. Now, if you were to join a different whiskey tasting club or society, like I did, you could amplify that. You could taste upwards of, I mean, with your own selection, say 1 bottle a week, join your club, they might have 4 to 6 whiskeys per meeting, and if they meet once a month, I mean, let's just say 5 bottles at a meeting per month times 12, that's 60 bottles. Add that onto your 50, you could taste 100 different whiskeys every year. That would be an easy way to increase your range, your experience. But I'd have to go back again to the budget. If it's in your budget, I mean, you could be where I'm at in 3 to 6 months. If you had the money, you could go to Austin and go to the Austin Whiskey Vault and go through their whiskey sommelier class and become a whiskey sommelier and have you'd have a massive experience and knowledge by the time you got finished in their 2-3 day course. There's also other classes out there. I know the Whiskey Attic in Las Vegas, it's a tasting class, but you're only going to do 8 to 12 whiskeys in that setting, and it's a 2-hour class. So it all depends on your budget. But I would suggest, if you're a beginner and you want to taste new stuff and you want to try all this new stuff, your best bet without causing severe financial discomfort would be to find a group of friends who are like-minded, and y'all meet up once or twice a month. You can do a bottle share. That would probably be the easiest. Pick 4 or 5 new bottles each month to try, and then you could just start a collection, have a little club collection. That'd be super easy. I know plenty of people do that. Guy Blake, who runs, it's not really a run, it's his own little speakeasy, I believe, at his house, called the Bison Bar. If you get on Instagram, look up Bison Bar in Tyler, Texas. They got a little speakeasy at his house, and I think that's kind of what him and his friends did. They started buying bottles of whiskey, sharing it with each other, and then just put it on the shelf, and then they would just bring a new bottle each time. So that's an easy way to get your experience and your knowledge up in this whiskey world. That would probably be the easiest and the cheapest. Find like-minded friends who want to do the same thing. Otherwise, you're going to incur all of the financial strain on yourself, and it's pretty tough. You can spend a lot of money in a short amount of time. Trust me. I know. I did that. So I think I went the expensive route, but at a time I had a bunch of extra cash on hand, and I just got into it. And whenever I have the type of personality, whenever I'd get into something, I'd just run head first into it, damn the cost. So I was pretty close to going to Austin to try to sign up down there and do their whiskey sommelier course, but I couldn't pull the trigger on that one. It's a $2,000 to $4,000 course for the first one, so I just couldn't do it. But I'll go ahead and read off. You know what? I think this one might deserve a video of its own. Dean asked another question. Yeah, that's a good question on its own. The top 5 pitfalls or mistakes people make with bourbon or whiskey. So that's going to be another video on its own. I think that one we could get into a good 20-minute video on it. So I think that's all I got on this one. Let me see what everybody else has asked. Not many other questions, but I do want to read off this one remark. Jesse S., the old Jesse Steele. So Jesse, he had a bad accident last year, and he has suffered severe disabilities. I don't want to give out his whole story, but the guy stuck around. He's been keeping in contact with me, so I'm glad, Jesse, you're doing a lot better. But Jesse commented, said, "Bro, before I first clicked on your videos, I was a mixed whiskey drinker. Now I like to consider myself to be a connoisseur of the fine whiskey. It is crazy how fast my palate changed from taking shots of Jack to sipping Lefroy 10-year. You opened my eyes, and now my alcohol cabinet to the finest bourbons. Right on, my brother." So that's kind of, that right there is why I do all of this, to share my knowledge and experience with everyone. So thanks, Jesse. Thanks for watching. Best of luck and speedy recovery in your journey. Yeah, I think that's all I got on this one. So the next video, I'm going to go over Dean's question. I might just do that and release it later this week. So stay tuned. But anyway, don't forget to check the description below for all the ways to help out. Got a new patron. Just signed up. Hold on, where is he at? Who was it? I'm looking it up. Sorry. Ed Hensley. Okay, Ed Hensley commented, "From one Marine to another, I'm pulling for you. Sorry to hear about your recent troubles. I wish you." He said, "I wish." Hiya! Said, "I wish I could film some reviews for you, but I have no equipment at all. Patreon money incoming, brother. Semper Fi." So thanks, Ed. Appreciate your support and donations. I think that's all I got on this one. Those are my thoughts on. That's my experience getting into whiskey, and how it would be easy, the easiest way imaginable, in my opinion, to become experienced in the ways of the world of whiskey. So that's all I got. Don't forget to check the description below. Help support at patreon.com/Kelly Redbeard Sparks. Links down there. I got Teespring. The Tattered Bean link, I believe, is still broken. I'll update whenever I can on that. Bearded idiots. Well, like always, drink some whiskey, share with your friends and family. Have a nice day. Take care. Don't drink and drive, and be safe. We'll see you next time.